Welcome to the Embracing Neurodiversity podcast, where I share my journey of embracing the experience of my amazing son who is on the spectrum. I am Ivory, a mother, educator, and personal growth enthusiast. My goal is to offer insight and stories that may inspire you on your own parenting journey. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for returning to the Embracing Neurodiversity podcast. I am your host, Ivory. We are in our Conscious Parenting Through a Neurodiversity Lens series, and this is episode 3. Today, we're talking about trusting your child's inner wisdom. I'm really excited about this. This episode invites us to do something considered radical, meaning out of the social sphere that we're accustomed to. It's to believe that your children, especially our neurodiverse children, already carry wisdom within them. This episode is going to explore how our role as parents isn't to control, but to guide, honor, and reflect back their brilliance. In the Conscious Parent book, Dr. Shefali, the author, writes, is it possible to trust life? That's the question that she poses. And as I say in the Transformative Parent Playbook, that what if your child came to teach you how to live more freely? Let's explore how control, fear, and our insecurities get in the way, and how to come back to connection, respect, and radical trust. This is a journey that I am on and continually learning from as well. So when I learn, I teach. Many of us were taught to parent from a place of control. We were told to lay down the law, to mold our child, to fix what didn't look typical, especially for neurodiverse kids who might struggle with transitions or learn in nonlinear ways. There's a constant pressure to normalize, to manage, and to correct our children. But parenting from control often leads to disconnection. Control says you need to act differently for me to feel safe. Trust says you are safe with me even in your difference. And children can feel the difference. They may not be able to label if you're being controlling or if you're being trusting, but they can feel it. The control says you need to act differently in order for me to feel safe. Trust says you are safe with me even in your difference. When we try to force our child into a mode they weren't made for, we teach them to doubt themselves. How does control undermine trust and self-trust? Children, especially those with sensory sensitivities or processing differences, are constantly receiving feedback that they're too much, too loud, not enough, or behind. There's constant redirecting or correcting. When we try to control them, especially in their most vulnerable states, we reinforce the belief that their inner world can't be trusted. This shows up later as anxiety about making mistakes, difficulty expressing themselves, people-pleasing, or masking behaviors, and even a fractured sense of identity. While these traits show up in our parenting, in our own lives, and we project those upon our children because perhaps in our own upbringing, we were not given space to learn how to trust ourselves by being extended trust from our parents, right? Or those who raised us. When we give them space to trust, they begin to trust their instincts, their pacing, their preference, and their process. And we give them the gift of coming home to themselves. I don't want anything more for my son than for him to feel rooted in himself, secure within himself, self-sufficient within himself, whole within himself. Trust doesn't mean we stop guiding. It means we guide with them, not against them. So, how do we build trust, not just in them, but between us? We model it. Here's what that looks like: listening without rushing to solve. You say, I hear you. That sounds really hard. I know it's so hard to listen without resolution, but it's possible. Follow their lead during play or conversation, right? Allow them to guide you. Allow space for meltdowns without shame. That's so hard. But if you can remain silent, stay within proximity, and observe without judgment, provide affirming language for calmness, it goes a long way. And the skill gets better over time. I've gotten better with how I respond to meltdowns now than I did 2 years ago. And thankfully, the meltdowns are less now, also. And my favorite one, my last two favorite ones, honestly, is respecting sensory and social boundaries. That comes in form of a myriad of ways for sensory boundaries, not forcing them to eat things they don't want to eat, not forcing lighting on them that creates dysregulation, not making them do things that they are visibly showing or will be impact one of their sensories. And then lastly, letting them say no. Like you can providing autonomy for children to say no is incredibly empowering. Even if it's against what you prefer, as long as it's not impacting their safety, they should say no because they know what is best for them. That comes in many forms. When we want children to give us hugs and they say no, respect the no. When it's obviously within reason. Sometimes Claire doesn't want to do certain things as it relates to getting ready for school or homework. And that's just, of course, you're going to do that. But when it relates to like body autonomy, I'm going to acquiesce to his no all the time. And that increases self trust in your child. If we lose patience, we circle back and say, I was trying to control something that didn't need controlling. Verbalize to your child when you make a mistake and acknowledge that mistake and say, I'm learning on this journey as well. That's trust in action because you're naming that. Like, I'm working on trusting you more. I believe in you. I'm just unlearning my own behaviors. Neurodiverse children often have an extraordinary sense of inner knowing. It may not show up in words or eye contact or compliance, but it shows up in how they self-soothe, how they read environments that harm them, and how they intuitively seek regulation. They are highly aware of their needs. If we pay attention, our job is to notice it. When your child flaps to process joy or hides to recover, it's not defiance, it's wisdom. They know what they need. When your child resists a social group that drains them or asks the same question for the 100th time, it's not stubbornness. It's wanting to seek clarity, to understand, to relate. So when we begin to trust their inner compass, you teach them to do the same. Parenting from trust doesn't mean letting go of all structure. It means letting go of fear-based control and stepping into co-creation with your child. I should probably trademark this. You are in control, you're not in charge. And you're in control through a co-creation standpoint. And you're in control of safety of your child within reason. And even that should be adjusted and it should evolve over time as it relates to your child's maturity and development. Our children are not empty vessels. They are here with purpose, wisdom, and their own rhythm. What they need most is not for us to mold them, but to mirror back their truth with love. As always, thank you all for joining me today and listening. In our next episode, we're going to explore what it means to create peace within ourselves as parents. Self-care is vital on this journey, and within our beliefs passionately that parents should prioritize. And so we're going to talk about how our energy shapes the emotional climate for our children and our homes. So until then, keep listening, keep trusting, and remember your child's inner wisdom is not something to change. It's not something to manage. It's something to honor. So until next time, take care of yourself. Bye.